Hearing we're good. Okay, thank you. Thanks everyone for bearing with our tech issues. We're having some complications with our streaming. So thank you for bearing with us. We're going to play a little agenda hopscotch here because we did have a presentation that required some of this tech support. So first we're going to start off with public comment. We have Eric Lowe. Eric, if you want to come on down. Thank you for being here.
Good afternoon. I was thinking I was going to be at the end of the meeting, so it's throwing me off a little bit, but I just wanted to say that I'm a big fan of the proposed changes to the Safe Streets for All Fund and what is under consideration in terms of prioritizing adaptive traffic controls and really trying to get as much money out into the system as possible, as quickly as possible. I think that the more we can work to make our streets safer faster, the better. And, you know, we've gone over this numerous times. You're no strangers to adaptive traffic controls, but they're the best bang for your buck. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate all of the hard work that the city and you all have put into 27 by 2027. I think that's just a phenomenal idea, and I really hope that it's successful and that we can make it bigger in the years to come. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Eric. Next up, we're going to have Amanda Beck come down with 2 items, special assessment for East Sprague and then downtown.
Good afternoon, Council. We'll be bringing forward the resolution for both the downtown and East Sprague bids. This sets the hearing date that will be your first Monday meeting in December for their annual assessment rolls. That's the self-assessed money that they use to fund the programs and the services in each of the bids. Were there any questions?
No, thank you so much. Really appreciate it, Amanda. Okay, next up we'll have our guest today, Mayor Brown. I think we were able to get your presentation up and going, so thank you so much for your patience.
Thanks, and hello, Council. Get this down low enough. Does this go down any lower? Is that it? I feel like I can't see you, Council members, the phone. Thank you. Thanks, Chris. We're here to discuss the federal legislative priority agenda for this year. We do this once a year. My thanks to especially Council Member Zappone and Dillon, who helped vet these ideas and put together the resolution. We also have Brian Christensen, our city's federal lobbyist, online, and I've got a couple of cabinet members here if you have more specific questions that I can't answer. So our 2025 federal priorities, we have 4 main buckets of priorities. As you can see here, protecting civil rights and programs that are essential to our most vulnerable residents, improving public safety and access to care, growing the regional economy and strengthening the local workforce, and investing in critical infrastructure. And I get to learn how to do this. Let's start with the first one. Thanks to Council, you have already, I believe, unanimously passed a Council resolution on Medicaid, and I just can't state enough how significant this is to the residents, not only of our city, but our entire region. Over 1 out of 4 people that you meet in Spokane are currently insured through Medicaid. And in Washington State, it's a significant number of people in nursing homes, as well as 38% of our children. In Washington, 59% of the adults that are insured through Medicaid are also employed, and it's just a critical funding source, part of our safety net. There are 14 rural hospitals that have come forward saying that they are in jeopardy with the cuts that have been passed in the federal bill. And I just want to make it clear that we know that those residents from those rural communities, not just in eastern Washington, but in Idaho and Montana, will also seek healthcare services in Spokane. So I just can't emphasize enough how significant it is that we push back on those Medicaid cuts. Some of the other key ones here are the SNAP program. That's our Supplemental Nutritional Assistance Program. That's 1 out of every 5 residents in Spokane. Our Community Development Block Grant funding is small but mighty. It's $2.7 million in 2024, and it is the one source of funding we give directly to neighborhoods. And I know I've been going to neighborhood councils the last few weeks, and I know you all do that regularly in your districts. So I think you understand how significant it is to those neighborhood councils to be able to prioritize their own neighborhood needs, and the CDBG funds help us do that. We have done multiple types of programs. I won't go into detail, but again, that's an important one. And you see the other assistance that flows through our utilities, low-income energy assistance, low-income household water assistance, housing voucher programs have been threatened, and the Affordable Connectivity Program is an internet connectivity program that is currently being utilized well, especially by our county, in connecting citizens that don't have high-speed internet. Public safety access to care. The SMART request is an earmark request that we have at the federal level. This one is very exciting because it would allow us to have a partnership with our already existing BRU and BHU. Those are co-deployed teams in fire and police that have mental health workers and casework attached to them. And with this SMART appropriation, we could make that 24/7. And it's all the commentary from businesses and our provider network is if we had this coverage 24/7, we would get people connected to services before we're in a crisis situation. And so that's a very important one. The Stop Smuggling Illicit Synthetic Drugs on the U.S. Transportation Network Act, kind of rolls off your tongue, is sponsored by Senator Cantwell, and the picture at the top is Chief Hall testifying in Congress on behalf of that act. We are not a wealthy city or region, but good jobs increase wealth for our residents and support the families of Spokane. So we would like to see the funding for our tech hub, the American Aerospace Materials Manufacture Center, a coalition that is across the border, Washington and Idaho, led by Gonzaga University. We would like to see that funding come back. We will recompete for it, and it's really significant for us, as well as the support for the Northeast PDAs. Childcare options, they're particularly looking at non-traditional hours to support the expansion of Jubilant Hollister Steer in Northeast Spokane, and Fairchild Air Force's bases, priorities around housing workforce for military spouses and families. And then finally, some critical infrastructure projects that you're well aware of, the Latah Bridge rehabilitation project, mitigation of PFAS on the West Plains in particular, and the reinstatement of the Community Change Grant. We had been promised $19.9 million for our local climate resilience, public health, and workforce development initiatives, and the termination of this grant comes at the wrong time when climate change related events are increasing, and we want to make our communities more resilient. It would allow us to do high efficiency HVAC air filtration systems in low-income homes and develop community resilience hubs where are safe spaces for people to go when we have these extreme weather events. So these are the federal priorities. Happy to take your questions about them or bring other people forward who can answer them.
Yeah, Mayor, thank you so much for presenting those. Just two quick things. One, on the childcare, super important. Really glad that's on there. It is, just want to clarify, it's for more than just Jubilant. It will help quite a few.
Absolutely.
Yep,
For the whole neighborhood.
As we're
yes.
seeing a lot of expansion now and hopefully to come. The other, I'm just wondering, when we're still dealing with this exemption issue on the waste energy plant, could there be space for some sort of request to, through whatever legal means, to intercede on our behalf with that facility?
Good point. When I was in D.C., we did meet with a national coalition of waste-to-energy facilities. There are some really exciting new technologies coming forward that allow for carbon capture. We've already explored that a little bit with Carbon Crest here in Spokane, but there are some other major international companies and places where this is happening, including in Norway. So we will explore if that could be a modification addition to the agenda.
Thank you.
Councilman, again, also thank you, Mayor. Could you expand a little bit on the housing voucher program? I know there's a shortage. There's always been a shortage, and what that looks like with the federal government and maybe restrictions to that program.
Yeah, and Don, would you like to help out with that?
Yes, so I think part of our concern is just the federal funding allocated to the housing authorities across the country is not keeping pace with the increase in rents. So the resources that we are getting locally do not go as far in terms of being able to keep units online. There are additional local nuances to that, but at the federal level, we're not seeing funding maintain pace with the increases in rents, which causes a reduction in overall vouchers for the community.
Could you speak as the waiting time? Do you have any idea? I know people could be on the waiting list for
Years.
ever.
Yes. So the traditional housing voucher program still maintains a decently long wait list. I believe Spokane reopened applications for their wait list a year or so ago. I believe about 5,000 households or 11,000 people were put on the wait list at that time. The wait list for other types of vouchers are different. So our project-based vouchers maintain a separate wait list. And then we also know that we do have vouchers locally currently for VASH, which is our veterans programs, FUP, which is family unification that supports young adults reunifying with family. So we do still have, and our FYI vouchers are also still open. So we've got 3 open pipelines, 2 wait lists. The project-based voucher one moves more quickly than the standard wait list, which can take some time.
Thank you. I just want to make clear that there are different wait lists for different programs, and people should still apply wherever they qualify for.
Absolutely, yes.
Great. Any other questions? All right. Thank you so much, Mayor. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming down. All right. Mr. Matt Boston, we'll have you take the next couple items, beginning with an update on the financial audit done by our Washington State Auditor.
Just realized, so H is that one, so it's sort of there.
All right. So you guys have me for a bit. I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. I brought my water just in case I'm long-winded. All right. So we'll start off with the 2024 state audit. There were 2 audits, obviously our financial report and our federal compliance audit. And I'm just going to go over very high level of what the results of those were. First and foremost, it was a clean, unmodified opinion on the financial statements and federal compliance. No evidence of misuse of funds. The findings that they did find were focused on internal controls and process improvements and kind of really where certain things landed on the financial statements. So to go over, what they were. In the financial report, there was the investment allocations. As you probably remember, we had a previous deputy treasurer that changed the allocation process under a previous administration. We have since fixed that in talking to the auditor. The allocation in the pooled investments were just in the wrong spot. Again, they were all there. They were just in the wrong spot within the different funds. Interest receivable within the general fund, again, it's in the wrong spot. We moved it around and we fixed that. The ARPA reporting, we misclassified 14.6 in unspent. 14.6 million in unspent funds. Now, misclassification, I just want to remind you what that is. Misclassification is just how the SAO and the GASBs, which is just the reporting board, wants us to identify those. I believe we were previously classifying them under restricted funds, and we changed it to a unrealized revenue. Generally, for you, just for education, we normally do not receive grants up front, as you all know. Just like we distribute grants, we generally give the grants. We reimburse the grants as people submit draws. ARPA was a little bit different. They gave us a large pool of money, and then we classified those on our balance sheet. But again, no misuse of funds. And then the last was the consolidation workbook errors. So when we consolidate all of our financials at the end of the year, we consolidate them to business type activities or government type activities. The internal service funds are kind of classified as business type activities. That's your fleet, that's your facilities, that's your IT department. We are changing that around because there's some different funds that probably shouldn't be in there. There's police portfolio, there's facilities portfolio, there's fire portfolio. But ultimately, we moved it from one section of the financial statement to the other. But I just, again, want to reaffirm that all of those misstatements that I just spoke to have been corrected. And then in the federal compliance finding, when we were procuring, we have this option, as I'm sure many of you are aware, we have this option to piggyback off of our procurement if there's a state contract that's out there. We did so, and in that process, when let's just say, for example, we procure something ourselves, we do a suspension and debarment check. But when we were procuring things in this specific example, we relied on the state's suspension and debarment check that was done previously. What the SAO has told us is that we have to redo that when we re-enter that contract. Again, something that's been fixed in consultation with our grants department as well as our procurement policy. Any other questions on the SAO audit as it stands?
Just a comment, Mr. Boss. I just want to thank you and your team. I had the opportunity to sit in the exit interview with our state auditors, and they spoke highly of how things were corrected in a timely manner that got us to our audit unmodified, exciting. So kudos, in that they were so impressed that things were corrected in the midst of the audit. I know your team was working very hard on getting that done. And just to mention, these were some legacy errors that had happened before you came on to this position. So I want to acknowledge that you're not screwing up down there, just so you know. They were already in place, but your team has made those adjustments and fixes. And so I'm hoping for even better things to come. So I just want to give a big shout out and thank you and the team.
Yeah, definitely appreciate the kudos. As many of you probably know, we've been in a state of transition within the accounting department as a whole for what seems to be about 8 months now. And during that time, Christy Baird, our chief accountant, has been leading the charge on the SAO audits as she has in years past. As many of you knew, Michelle Murray previously, she was kind of the one that passed that torch off, had a lot of institutional knowledge. We consulted with her on these errors. She was available for question and comment. But ultimately, yes, it was some things that we inherited, and based on the diligence and the teamwork of not just the accounting department, but the accounting, the grants department, the internal audit department, the budget office, everybody came together when the SAO grabbed us on these findings, and we dug into them. We have identified a path forward of what we're going to work on in the off-season. So my hat goes off to each and every one of them. And one of the things that you didn't mention, Council President, is that we did come under $50,000 budget from the actual audit in terms of what they originally budgeted for us. And normally when you see these types of findings, that's when you see audit costs go through the roof and far exceed the budget. So they did attest that to the responsiveness of primarily Christie, but everybody involved. So thank you. We appreciate the nice words. Any other questions on that one? All right. So next I'll go to agenda items 3 and 4. They're kind of linked together. The agenda item number 3 is a resolution authorizing the issuance and sale of refunding our bonds. This is our SIP debt. This is our internal debt. The 5 components of this one were the Esmeralda refinance, the Gardner property, the Alki property loan, the West Plains Fire Station loan, and the Chass East Central loan. Just to give you a little bit of insight onto each one of those, the Gardner property was for property acquisition for city's police department investigative services, and that was started. The original issue date was 6/30 of 2020. The original principal was $1.815 million. The remaining principal is $738,000. During the different refinances, and I've talked to many of you about this in the past, but one of the way that we finance capital, whether it be for public safety vehicles or streets or solid waste or actual property portfolio, this internal debt that we have on ourselves, and we'll talk a little bit further about this, is one of those levers that we have. But in the sense of property acquisition for facilities or real estate transactions, what we have to do is we have to set it up with a 5-year term with a balloon at the end of the 5th year, and then we refinance that. So the Gardner property specifically has been refinanced. This will be its 4th time, and those rates were 2.42, 1.54, 0.81%, and now 4.51%. And that might drop a little bit lower based on the recent Fed drop. The Alki property, again, was property acquisition for the police department evidence room, and that one has been refinanced. This will be the 4th time, and varying interest rates. The U District were capital expenditures for the Division Street Gateway Corridor project. In the University District revitalization area, that started in July of 2020. And again, this will be the 4th. West Plains, this will be the 4th as well. That started in 2011. The golf one for Esmeralda was in 2020, and this will be the 3rd one. And then the Chass East Central, this will be its 2nd. If there's no questions on that one specifically, I'll go to the ordinance, which is the next one. That was for the LTGO 2016 refund. The reason that this one is an ordinance is because it was originally a bond, a city-issued bond, and now has been transitioned to city debt. That was originally issued for funding improvements to the Riverfront Park Gondola, Skyride, and public improvement within the Iron Bridge increment area. Questions on that one? Yeah.
I just, Mr. Boston, on the ones that we're refining under our SIP, which has been multiple times, I guess I would like at some point the real cost of that money as we keep refining and extending this loan from the original debt from a lower interest rate up to 4%, 1.8 up to 4.5 or 4 point going forward. I think a good picture of what this is costing us as we continue to extend this. And I know that we are getting interest, that kind of paying ourselves back, but when will these ever really be expired based on the original intent? Or are we kind of refining into perpetuity? Is that just the game plan?
No, we're refinancing based along the same lines that we probably would with if we were to go out for a LTGO bond and actually bond it out with a public vote, and or if we were to use commercial paper and we were to refinance it with commercial paper. The benefit here is that we get better rates versus commercial, and we're paying ourselves. And so that's kind of the win-win when it comes to this piece, because this goes into our investment pool of allocation. It goes out for all of the benefiting departments and funds. So when you ask the question of, what is it really costing us? I would almost answer that it's costing us nothing because we're paying back ourselves. It's not, this money doesn't go outside of the organization at any point except for just drawing up the paperwork itself. But we can get the cost of total interest and what that cost is. But again, similar to us having a treasury bond, that interest comes into the city and then is proportionally allocated to the different funds that are part of the investment account.
Councilmember Cathcart, then Councilmember Bingle.
Yeah, just to piggyback, I would love to see just how much we've paid in principal and interest since taking on the debt. But on the latter one, is that specifically from the 2015 ballot measure? Is that where that bond came from? And
I would imagine, because it's a 2016 LTGO, so I would imagine that it was the 2015 ballot measure, yeah.
okay, and so I'd be curious to see just what the revenues are from that bond and how much of that has gone towards this, and just what that looks like kind of going forward with the refinancing and those things. And I think this is the second or third time we've refinanced that, isn't it?
Yes, this will be the fourth time.
Okay, yeah.
Great. Councilmember Bingle.
Thanks, Matt.
Yeah, you bet.
I don't think the average Spoken Knight has a fund that they borrow from and pay themselves back interest. And would you explain that process a little bit for folks who are watching?
Yeah. So our overall separate sets of funds, right? We have special revenue funds. We have the general fund that everyone's very familiar with. We have fiduciary funds. We have enterprise funds. All of those funds carry a cash balance to them, but all of them have specific language of what they can be used for. Ultimately for what their primary purpose is. But what we can do as them being part of the investment pool, right, is we can group that money together and say, okay, while there's a specific set of funds that have specific uses, we can loan against those dollars and pay back interest to those dollars. So similar to if you were to have I guess I'm trying to draw a parallel of what the easiest parallel is, because it's an investment route is the best way to say it, is because you're throwing it into a market that you're getting a return back on. It's similar to just purchasing bonds, I would say, is probably the closest the closest similarity to it. But let me think about a better way.
But for the person who's like, okay, so I have a savings account,
Yeah.
and then I decide I need to take $1,000 from this, but my own, sort of commitment to myself is I'm going to put more back than what I pulled out of it, right? And so that's what I'm trying to get at, is helping people understand what is this magic fund, and why don't we just use that for the budget, right? So.
Yeah, so you never want to use long-term debt for ongoing capital, right? That's our big one. And we want to be strategic about what we're investing in. We want to make sure that they have a useful life that is going past the horizon, right, into the horizon. Obviously, when we're looking at our SIP portfolio, it is primarily property. It is property, whether vehicle or equipment or actual physical portfolio property, and paying ourselves back to that. I guess to use your example, it would be saying, okay, if I'm gonna let my child, right, who I love and I care for, buy something of interest to them, and I want them to return that money back to them, or return it back to me, I would charge them interest. It's still within the same family. It's a long-term asset that our family gets. Let's just say it's for a vehicle purchase for my child when they turn 16, and I say, hey, here's $1,000 that I have. I'll let you use that $1,000 for your first car, and you have to pay me back at 5% interest. It's not the same of you going out to commercial. It's not the same as you just unloading that right now. You're obviously able to buy a little bit more because you have me as a parent, and I would say that's probably the closest assimilation. Does that work?
Thank you.
I was just going to say, like, I got a little savings account, and I borrow against my savings account, and I get a better interest rate on it. So the savings stays there, doesn't go anywhere, and my rate's lower, and I could pay it all off at one time or make payments on it, so.
Yeah, I think there's
That's
also loans that you could take out of your 401k, right? Very similar to that. So you could take a loan out of your 401k if you wanted to buy a home. You pull that money out, and you're paying interest back into your own 401k.
Thank you. Thank you for that question, Councilmember Bingle. All right, let's keep it moving. Internal borrowing guidelines amendment.
All right, so that's going to be items 5 and 6, which directly relate to 3 and 4. 5 and 6 just adds capacity to our lending program for future capital purchases from 15 to 20%. The additional capacity translates to about $16 million. The current rate that we are lending at right now, based on the recent Fed cuts, is 4.25. The current balance that we have currently within our rotating SIP program is 36.2, which is about 11.5% of the capacity. Giving ourselves a little bit of headroom, knowing that there was a desire at some point, and I think it stemmed from a lot of the questions that this council is asking right now, is why would you pay interest on something if you could just pay cash for it, right? And going into the details of saying, hey, look, we're not paying interest to a third party that we're never going to see the return on. We're taking our pooled money and we're borrowing against it so that we can make the investments for public safety, for streets, for solid waste. We bought a few trucks for solid waste this last year. We're buying $6.8 million worth of equipment for fire in the 25-26 biennium. So that is why we're trying to give ourselves that headroom. Again, I think our priority, as I believe I've heard many of your priorities, is to make sure that the Public Safety Department has the capital needs that they have been asking for some time, as well as the other departments that have suffered capital purchase losses during these budget crunches year over year. I think I've probably talked to many of you when I was previously in the council office, but that's one of the first things that gets clipped is a capital purchase. And it's not seen apparently on the expenditure report, right? You see $1 million rig that comes off the expense report, but then the maintenance and operations of those rigs just climb, and that is what we are trying to avoid. We went into a valley during 21, 22, 23, and we are climbing ourselves back out of it right now and trying to marry that with the useful life of the purchases that we're making. So it's just asking to change that investment policy as well. Questions on that?
So Matt, currently we're at 15%. You say our capacity is 11.5% right now, correct? Is that what you said? Did I hear you?
Flip that around. So we're currently at about 11.5% of our overall cash portfolio. Our policy right now is that we can go up to 15%. And this would be asking it to go up to 20%. Obviously, still having to go to council for any approvals.
Yeah, that seems like a really significant increase at this time, since we're at 11 up to 20. So
it doesn't say taking the 20%. It's giving a essentially the ability to not have to go through this process of saying, let's increase it up to 20% if we were to hit that 15%. So if we're saying, and this is part of Councilmember Cathcart's question the other day of saying, let's develop a 6-year capital plan, of which we already have, and we're going to talk actually a little bit about that, but let's really develop what the 6-year capital plan is for purchasing. I've talked to some of you when I was previously in the council, and I've talked to some of you since I've been in my new role. But the 6-year capital plan oftentimes becomes hopes, dreams, wants, desires outside of the current budget operating year that you're working in, right? So when you're looking at a 26 through 31 capital plan, you don't necessarily have to fund 27, 28, 29, 30. 31, you just have to say, okay, this is the things that I want. This is our opportunity to marry those 6-year plans together and give us a financing solution for those as well, and build them within our operating budget and our 6-year plan.
So the 6-year plan, as you have worked through it, will obviously exceed the 15% then? Is that your?
So the
that's the
6-year
thinking?
plan, I'm sorry.
So that's the process, as you look at the 6-year plan, it will exceed the 15%?
So yes, if we are going to use financing for some of the purchases that are coming down the road, we are going to need additional capacity outside of the 15% that we currently have allowable. And that is the, yeah, I mean, that's the only solution that we have based on revenues that we've talked about ad nauseum that are at 3%. This is making sure that those $1 million, so let's just use police, for example, and let's just say police needs 20 cars, and each one of those cars has a total cost of, let's just say, about $100,000 soup to nuts. But we only have $1 million in their budget right now. So the 20 cars, we know we're going to fall short on that, and we know that that's what they need over the next 3 years. And again, I'm just using rough numbers. These aren't the exact numbers that are in their actual capital plans. But we use that and we say, okay, let's get them the 20 cars right now because they need the 20 cars. Let's build this into life cycle planning. So it says, okay, we know that police as a whole, and Councilmember Cathcart, you asked this question the other day, but police as a whole needs 200 cars. The 20 is what they need right now, but let's talk about the life cycle of each one of these cars, of when they're coming in, when they're coming out. Let's marry it with the financing option. Let's not do giant outflows of cash, which we know that we just can't afford right now. Let's marry those with the actual life cycle of the vehicles as well. And so that's what we're trying to do. The capital plans that you're seeing oftentimes and historically were developed by previous administrations had a lot of hopes, dreams, wants, desires in the out years. Now, those can be covered not just by financing or cash, but oftentimes we get grants, right? I mean, in years past, we weren't anticipating ARPA, and we used ARPA for police cars. We used ARPA for a handful of fire trucks. Those are solutions that are out there. Same with streets. We know that there are grant opportunities for streets, and we supplant those in, but giving us the ability to have the financing option as we're taking all of the information involved, all the information that we have at hand so that we can make the best long-term decision is important for us.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, are there other jurisdictions that exceed 15 in the state of Washington?
You know, I don't know about that for sure. Let me look and get back to you on that one.
Just like to know the best
Yeah.
practice.
Yeah.
But also, do you have a sense of how the bond ratings agencies view, using a lot of kind of self-funded debt in terms of?
It's similar to a revenue-based debt, right? Because we have to have a revenue that's associated with it. We can't just go out to the debt and say, okay, that's that, and we'll figure out how to pay it. So similar to how a lot of municipalities in Washington State deal with their LTGO debt is how rating agencies. That's how they kind of incorporate them together, of which we have a ton of LTGO capacity. We have a ton of UTGO capacity. But then to do that, you actually have to go through the voters process if you're going to do that for those larger projects.
Okay.
Other other questions on this topic? All right, on to the next one, Matt.
All right, so I think the next one is the things that got pulled up from consent agenda. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's
All
the
right.
grouping of the mid-biennial process.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through what I understand the timeline to be over the next, what is today, the 22nd, about the next month and a half, just shy of that. We're using November 17th as the backstop for when council is wanting to adopt the budget. So that's our backstop as it stands right now. Obviously, today, we're talking a little bit about setting the hearings, the property tax ordinances on the F&A committee, and what's under consent. Currently underway during the 24th and the 22nd, the Plan Commission CIP Consistency Review Workshop is going to be happening. The Plan Commission CIP hearing is going to be happening. On October 22nd, the CIP ordinance is going to be uploaded for the October 27th F&A committee. The budget ordinance, again, is slated for October 27th. On October 27th, we're going to be talking to you about the CIP ordinance and the budget ordinance during those two F&A that F&A meeting. But during that legislative meeting, there will be the revenue hearing, and just a quick understanding of what the revenue hearing is the city, such as Spokane, that collects a regular property tax levy must hold a public hearing on possible revenue sources for the 2026 current expense budget, including consideration of possible increases in property tax revenue, and that's per accordance to RCW 84.55.120. This hearing must be held before the meeting at which the City Council considers the levy adoption. The property tax ordinance will be on the Council's November 3rd, 2025 agenda. And just for a reminder, this isn't a new levy. This isn't a levy lid lift, as has been discussed in other discussions. This is strictly pertaining to the 1% of the overall assessed value increase, and whether to vote for that or against that. The mayor's proposed mid-biennial modification is released on Monday, November 3rd. That kicks off the first of your budget hearings, and as part of the budget process, the City Council will hold public budget hearings as you previously did in years past on your annual budgets, as well as when you adopt the 25-26 biennial for the mid-biennium budget. Public testimony, again, is welcome on all sections of the budget at each of these hearings. The hearings will be held on November 3rd and November 10th, and then the property tax levy ordinance is adopted the evening of Monday, November 3rd. Again, each year per RCW 84.52.070, the City Council must pass the annual property tax levy and transmit to the county assessors, and that's why these timelines are so important, and the Board of County Commissioners, the amount of the property taxes levied on the property in the city. The revenue hearings, as I previously discussed, were going to be the previous dates. And then on Monday, November 10th, you'll have your City Council budget hearing, your second of two, and then the 2026 to 2031 six-year CIP ordinance first reading, where public testimony is going to be taken. And then just to give you a quick synopsis of what that is, but in accordance to the State Growth Management Act. In the City of Spokane's Spokane Municipal Code, Chapter 07.17, the city must adopt the annual updated citywide six-year capital improvement plan. The program must be updated annually as part of the budget process with the approval of the 2026 mid-biennium modification. And then November 17th is the CIP ordinance adopted, again, as I just discussed, and then the 2026 mid-biennial modification adoption. Said a lot. Those are the dates. Gave you a lot of information. Questions on any of those? Yeah.
Yeah, I just, obviously, we call it a revenue hearing. It's more or less for the property tax, but I'm wondering if there are other forms of revenue that are being considered, if those would be presented in time, that we could be hearing feedback on those at the same time.
As we discussed about in the budget hearing the other day, I think we're looking at all forms of revenue. I certainly hope that we're talking about it well before November 3rd, because that is when we are delivering your budget, so that we can have a collective conversation about those things and give.
So you sense we would know that there's a revenue proposal coming in advance of October 27th?
I would anticipate, yes. I mean, just because of the sheer fact that if there is any sort of revenue discussion, in the 2026 mid-biennial modification, it's going to have to be within the mayor's delivered proposed budget. So we'll have to have that information available for us.
Well, I just say that just because I think it's better to be holistic in how we are analyzing, things, whether it's just budget modifications or revenue increases or whatever it might be. And last year, obviously, we had the property tax hearings and we passed it in November, but then I think it was still a couple weeks later that we did the vote on the utility tax, right? And I just think that it'd be better if we could do all those at once and really get that holistic feedback on revenue changes.
Yes, yeah. I think that's the intention. I think when looking at last year's and the distinction between the utility tax and the property sales tax is simply because of the timing of the ballot, as well as the decision and the discussion with our own internal staff on what that utility tax would look like. Yeah.
Councilmember Ringel.
So when, I guess, is soon, because this is our last meeting in September, considering next week is town hall, and so then we're into October. So when do we sort of foresee that happening?
When do we foresee the revenue discussions to
Yeah, the
happen?
revenue discussions,
Yeah. I think they're ongoing. I mean, I know that our CAO had said just the other day, I mean, this is something that we are talking about on an ongoing basis. I think the plan on having our October budget study session and conversations leading up to those to vet and discuss all possible options, whether it be cuts or revenue enhancements, are still up for discussion. I think we have to be careful on any sort of conversation that we're having, because we want to make sure that we're properly weighing out the pros and cons before we propose anything. So, long answer to your short question, I don't know, but I would imagine that it's going to be this month, and those conversations are already scheduled, and the budget study session, I can't remember the exact date, but I'm assuming that we'll be talking about it then as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Matt. Any other questions for Matt? All right. Well, really appreciate you going through all these items, and looks like you didn't have to hydrate too much, so well done.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Okay, we have actually Maggie Yates out, so we're going to have Chief Oberg come up and present the next item with the Shrek update. And Chief Williams. Thanks so much for being here.
Good afternoon, Council. Thank you. The top, looks like the top one. Yeah, that one. Perfect. So wanted to take this opportunity, a Shrek update, and really focus in on CAD, the computer-aided dispatch, and some of the positions that we're in. Where's my, here we go. So just give you a little bit of current status and current timeline. So in June, that is when the Shrek Board voted to recommend that the city separate from Shrek for regional dispatch services. Shrek has advised that they plan on January 1 of 2026 to transfer all calls that originate in the city to SPD to triage and handle and dispatch as a secondary PSAP. We have several subject matter experts, and it's included in the Matrix report, advise us that 18 to 24 months is really the expected time frame for when you can stand up a PSAP from its foundation, and that 18 months is if every phase goes perfectly. if there's no issues in that. So obviously, that gives us significant pause for that January 1, 2026 date. We have recommended or will recommend that we have a temporary contract with SHREC to provide, to continue status quo dispatching until we have our PSAP launch. This will assist us making sure that we don't have any risk or consequences of having PD dispatch. There's, again, several missing parts of that. We are obviously dispatched not only on fire calls, but EMS calls. PD is not set up to have that in its dispatch. So a lot of challenges and risk with that January 1 date. For us to have that temporary contract with SHREC, there are some challenges and some shortcomings in the way that they are implementing their new CAD that I'll go into. So just a primer on CAD, you'll hear us say that a lot. That's computer-aided dispatch. That is the software that basically routes all of our information to emergency responders. Currently, police is on Tyler New World. Fire, we are on Infor. We as the city own Infor, and so SHREC pays us to use that. We were part of, in 2023, 2024, we were part of the process of looking at new CAD platforms, and Hexagon was selected as that. And again, we being fire specifically, were a part of that process. So the good thing about Hexagon, this is going to be the first time, I believe, potentially in the history of the city, where police and fire were all going to be on the same CAD platform, which offers a lot of benefits. So dispatchers will continue to enter information, both in our fire trucks and police trucks. We have our mobile data computers that we can see as calls progress. We see that, and that is all done through the CAD software. So Hexagon being the software platform that was selected, and again, going to improve interoperability by having both law and fire all on the same CAD. July 8th of 2025, Chief Hall and myself sent a letter to SHREC declining to enter into an SLA to participate with SHREC on their platform of Hexagon. We outlined the reasons why, but specifically both some operational concerns as well as governance concerns and then finance concerns. So if you recall, back in 2017, the voters elected to renew a 0.1% sales tax that covered emergency communications through the county. Software upgrades were a part of that. So I think you can look back in a lot of the voter documents that were used at that time. CAD was specifically referenced in that. They were asking for us to pay 50% of the initial cost of Hexagon, which was going to be $2.75 million, and then 60% of the ongoing annual shared cost. I highlight the 60% as that is not a number, as obviously we are still working through the apportionment issues going on. That has not been a number that they have agreed to going the other way. As of yet. So SFD, we've paid user fees since 2022, and SHREC already receives a 48%. So those were the reasons that we declined to enter into that ILA.
Can I just add one thing to that?
Please.
So just one point of clarification to add to what the chief is saying here. So the 50% of the project cost, that was a cost that they were specifically asking SPD to bear, and their rationale for that was SPD is not a participating agency of SHREC, and therefore the tax dollars that Chief Oberg mentioned that are meant to pay for that software upgrade wouldn't apply to SPD. Of course, we think that that argument holds absolutely no merit because it's not like any of that revenue, which is supposed to fund calls throughout the county, none of that's coming to SPD to help with the handling of the calls. So we're not getting the benefit of the funds on the front end, and we certainly don't think that should be held against us when it comes time to upgrade software for everyone. And then the one other thing, and you may have been about to get to this, Chief, but just want to differentiate that we believe we should hold our own Hexagon contract, but we still want to be on Hexagon and want the systems to be, so you're getting there.
Getting there.
Great.
Thanks, Alex. All right, so that was the July letter that went back to SHREC that said we declined to enter into the ILA. At the August SHREC board meeting, we were notified and came to the realization that the implementation rollout that they had planned would not include any Spokane Fire Department units or stations. And I've got some slides that I'll give you a visual of what that means. The main significance of that is that all of our automatic aid, so we have automatic aid contracts with all of our neighboring jurisdictions, meaning when a structure fire, when a cardiac arrest comes in, we don't care what it says on the side of the unit. We want the closest unit, whether that's leaving the city or coming into the city. Those would all become null and void because Hexagon would not be able to visually see our units. And I think a point of order on this is that not only would our units not be entered, there was already some work on having our units entered, and some of our run cards were already entered, and Shrek went in and deleted those. They've since then told us that the earliest possibility for when they could have our units re-entered into that is fall of 2026. So I'll also kind of talk about that timeline and the concerns with that. So this would be a screenshot of what the computer, what dispatchers will see as far as units availability. So you can kind of see the outline of the city limits, and then we really have some valley units highlighted there. So when the computer is looking at automatic vehicle location, and it will say, this is how many calls this type, or how many units this type of call needs, where are the closest ones, it will look at all of those. What's happening with what we've now been advised is this is what Hexagon will see on on March 27th when Hexagon goes live. So it will not see any of our units. Now, we can still have mutual aid contracts, but that is literally one dispatcher having to call another dispatcher and say, are any of your units available? Where are they at? And so, we've talked about kind of just the chain of call processing. That is going to slow the call processing down. So going back to the automatic aid, that is one of our biggest concerns and biggest priorities that we will have to figure. So CAD to CAD interface, that we, as far as the city, right now, we plan to stay on Hexagon as well. We were, as I mentioned, Fire was part of that selection process a couple of years ago. It is a good product. We just wanted to be on our own platform. There is CAD to CAD interface that the reason that that's not a possibility going forward with Infor is those maintenance contracts will be going away. And obviously, we don't have a PSAP stood up right now, so we don't have even the opportunity to go forward with Infor, much less Hexagon. Once we are up and running with Hexagon as our CAD platform, we can have that CAD to CAD interface. But the time frame that we're concerned about is from that March 27th of 2026 until that 18 to 24 months later when we are actually live. That what happens in those months as far as our units not being visible through the county. So obviously, public safety consequences is a significant concern of ours. The only obstacle really that we have from being able to work on that temporary contract with Shrek is this, that if they can't see our units, they can't dispatch for our units. And again, Shrek has asserted that they would not be able to enter our units or our run cards in until at the earliest fall of 26.
Chief, thank you very much for that overview. This weekend, when I read the Center Square piece that came out, I was fearful for the first time in this process for the lives of my constituents, their well-being. Why would Shrek delay 24 months and allow us a temporary contract, just given their position today, given kind of our position over time? I'm just not seeing that. And so what I don't understand, frankly, is why we are not running to the courts today demanding some kind of just an outcome to this. I don't understand why we are pushing that off. And I know you're not the attorney, you don't make those decisions. Hopefully our attorney is watching and is thinking through this, because I'm fearful.
Yeah.
I am fearful. A week ago I was not. Today I am fearful.
I'm not going to say anything to make you feel less fearful. I will say that, and you know, hindsight is great, but the August Shrek board meeting was, quite honestly, when the realization came to me that now there were other conversations that it was not said straight out, that it made me understand. Now I understand why they're saying all of our automatic aid contracts are null and void. Because that, in my mind, I'm like, our units are in there, we're going to see. It's really an issue of finances and what does that contract look like. Now I'm understanding the other side of the concern. So I will say that the fact that really that realization didn't come to any of us until August, I think a lot of those conversations and consequences are being flushed out right now.
Okay. Well, and I'm sure there's probably folks who are on the fringes outside the city who benefit from our mutual aid who should frankly also be fearful that this is happening.
I would hope so, absolutely. You know, I keep going back to, it's one thing to say that public safety is going to come first, but I think those principles have to be put into action, and that's a concern that I have right now, that I think that if, you know, the decision's been made and that we're going to stand up our own PSAP, we should be approaching that from all sides in a professional manner, making sure that it's not necessarily where any of us wanted to be, but it's where we're at, and the community deserves for us to approach it in a methodical, well thought out, not emotionally reactive way.
100%.
Go ahead.
I'll just say into Councilmember's comments there had been additional conversations going on after the mediation process that was put in place around Shrek, that we thought we would get some traction from that, and we have not gotten traction from that. I just want to tell people the city of Spokane is in the county, so we're a part of the county, so don't say Spokane and then say county, because we are one entity, and we need to start thinking about that a lot. Chief Oberg, what is the entity at the state level that has the final say on PSAPs? I couldn't quite recall that.
So State 911 gets to decide when they flip the switch as far as where calls go. And so they have been involved in many of our collaborative meetings, and certainly they've been in every one in the last 2 months. And I will not speak for them. My perspective is they have concerns as well. And they have told us they will not flip the switch until they're certain that calls can be handled safely.
Go ahead.
Hi, Chief. Thanks for being here. So I guess on your solutions there, the temporary contract with Shrek, what does temporary look like to us in dollars and length?
I don't have the answer to that today. That is dollars. In length, it is somewhere in that 18 to 24 month time frame. And again, all of that time frame is phased out at different levels. Obviously, PD is already a secondary PSAP. There's things that they can do. So I'm not saying that it would be at the end of that 18 month or the end of that 24 month, but it's going to be in that range for sure. The cost, again, I don't have the answer to that. I know Shrek has asked us specifically what we're looking for. It feels like we've answered that, but I don't know that we've answered it to their satisfaction yet.
So then if State 911 says, yeah, City of Spokane, not ready to take on the full call load here, we're going to remain in this organization with Shrek, how does all the contractual stuff get worked out later on if Shrek is saying you're out of here, the state says actually you're not out of here? How do we work all of that out after the fact?
I feel like if I had the answer to that, I'd go buy a lotto ticket tonight. I mean, that goes back to what Councilmember Cathcart said, that I think unfortunately we might have to have a different level come in and help us step through this legally.
I was kind of wondering more like, what does it look like level of Shrek says that they won't have anything in there until fall of 2026 for the city stuff, but we're not ready in January. So then I guess if they don't have our stuff, then what happens too? Like, do they have to use their old system until?
No, and they're saying January 1, they will start transferring all calls. Full stop.
And if the state says that we're not ready to take them?
So January to March is not as big a concern because we're on the current CAD platform. The issue is their go-live date for the new CAD platform is March, and that's the platform that our units are not in. That's the platform that they have said it would be fall. So there's a 6-month period there that is great concern that if we're not able to be entered into that, what happens for those 6 months? And I don't have the answer to that today.
So nobody has that answer, okay.
Go ahead.
So I understand broken relationships and bad blood and all that. What I don't understand is how somebody could look at us and say something this important, it's just going to happen Jan 1, you're on your own, good luck, fly little birdie. I just don't understand how that's the position that somebody could be taking. Can you help me understand that? Because I
can't. I don't understand it either, Councilmember. And I mean, even the sheriff has said that he thinks that the timeline that was put out there was not a realistic timeline.
And it's not like we're dealing with people who don't understand the effects of this decision, right? These are all chiefs of a department throughout the county, correct?
Well, this is Shrek's, I mean, Shrek has their own,
Right.
own leadership.
Right, and their board, though, their board is made up of who?
Well, we have, the board is made up of police and fire chiefs.
Police and fire chiefs.
Yes.
So again, this board is not, they're not ignorant of the effects of this decision. They're not ignorant of the fact that it takes time for us to stand up our own, answering point. And so for me, I guess I always had in the back of my mind, we have some contractual stuff we need to work out. We're going to get through that, and we're going to haggle about that. But what I can't understand and what I won't accept is the fact that an agency like this, made up of people who understand the effects, are willing to just say, good luck. That, to me, is where I get really angry and where I'm offended for the people that I represent and frankly, for the people that the county commissioners represent. And how is this something that is acceptable for us to make this decision, or for them to make that decision, and we have to live with it? And like I said, I understand broken relationships and things, but this is a completely unacceptable position for somebody to be taken if this is really what it is. And I mean, I would love to help out on that as much as I can.
I do want to make sure that, I mean, a lot of the complicating factors that, and there's a lot of variables in here, but it's important to try to understand, is the movement of Shrek's facility to the new facility, what that means for bringing in new phone systems, what that means for bringing in the new CAD. Whether we were a part or not a part, obviously that is a pretty significant part of that planning. And so they have time and time again said, we need to know, on this date, are we in or are we out for these particular planning reasons, and how they set up consoles, how they set up phone systems. And so I don't want to give the impression that there are no complicating factors that they are having to take into account as well. But at the end of the day, I guess, again, I'm repeating myself, saying that public safety comes first and putting those principles into action are two different things.
Councilor Kliski.
It seems to me that they have just as much to lose by having a gaping hole in their data as we would. And acknowledging that they have the complications of moving to another facility, it doesn't really help them in any way to not populate that information into their data.
And again, I want to say not only not populate, but delete what was already populated.
Delete the work that they had already done to have that data in, just to show the city of Spokane that they are serious about moving.
I can't
We're
answer
not
that.
stopping them from moving. So I just feel like we're all constituents of the county, but folks that are constituents of the valley and the rural county commissioners that are on this board, maybe take a look at what kind of message are we sending to our population that getting our way in this is so important that we're going to delete data and not have an operable system, but we're still going to switch systems. Just seems very unlikely that somebody would actually, in their right mind, do that.
Yeah, and the automatic aid, again, whether it's given or received, and I think I've reported that to you guys before in some of the monthly public safety reports, that we go out as often as other jurisdictions come into the city, and that is a keystone of good public safety. We don't care what it says on the side of the truck. We care how quickly we can get there in a true emergency.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I'm sure the more urban commissioners too, I mean, their areas really touch those fringes that would be very directly affected. And so I think all 5 commissioners need to be very vocal in addressing how this is moving forward. I'm very curious about that 2017 ballot measure and what the language says. I don't understand how SPD not being a participant would in any way affect those revenues, certainly. I'm assuming there's some component of them saying, well, SPD wasn't a member and paying their user fees through those years, and therefore they're not. But it doesn't sound like necessarily that's exactly what they're saying anyway. So I'd just be curious to know more of those details, and then also the apportionment of, whatever portion of the revenues that we should receive. And I know there's still a lot of debate over that. They think something very, very different, apparently. But either way, I don't know how they, in good conscience, or they, in any sort of commonsensical way, could suggest that we're going to stand up any sort of PSAP without those revenue dollars to invest in those capital costs, and they're not even willing to come to an agreement on what the number would be. So it doesn't even make sense, right?
Agreed.
But if a court or a state agency were to direct them to include us for an additional amount of time, which I believe at this point is the only resort we have left, how is that going to affect their CAD contracts and systems? Would they essentially be forced to pay for 2 contracts for that extended time because they've already got this deal with Hexagon?
Tom, can you help me out with that one? I don't think that that's a possibility, but
So the current Infor CAD system that we have is at end of life, so it does need some updates. Our phone systems are in that place as well. However, the best alternate would be for them to keep both systems alive. So they can switch to their Hexagon on March 23rd, Infor continues to roll on while we get ourselves prepared to go to Hexagon.
And what sort of cost would that impose on them?
I don't want to just throw a number out. I'd have to check for you. But we do have an interlocal agreement with the county regarding Infor that's being looked at right now as a possibility.
So theoretically, that would not be a real argument as to why this could not work.
there's a complexity there for the call takers and dispatchers, for sure, that an operation.
In the mic.
It would be super challenging for those employees, the Shrek employees, to do. You're talking about 3 screens right now, 3 or 4 screens per dispatcher. Now you're going to be at 7 to 8 because they're doing 2 different CAD systems and different functions with, we're really going to be challenging those employees. That's not ideal. Ideal would be for Shrek to build us into their system in the next 6 months, or at least show us as XYs, our stations, something that would identify us instead of having a big black hole.
Go ahead, Councilmember Riggle.
So I know that we've been discussing a new CAD system since I got onto the council, right? We've been discussing it for a long time. Were there any agreements or any things that we were agreeing to over the few years to where it's like, listen, we've been talking about this for years. This is like a city of Spokane problem, not an us problem?
I'm not sure if I'm tracking with you.
I mean, we've been talking about this new CAD,
Yeah.
with Shrek for, again, my entire time on council. As we were having these discussions with the Shrek board, talking about it, because again, we'd been trying to budget for the CAD system for a while now. And so was it something where it's like we were given, deadlines in the past of like, we are transitioning at this time, and this is, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, if we need to know if you guys are in or out in that time?
Yes, and let me make sure I'm tracking with you. But we were also a part of Shrek.
Right.
And at that time, there was no separation really that was in the discussions that I was aware of. So that certainly changed the discussions in January of '24 and then really in April of '24 when we started to have the discussions on different governance, different fee schedules. But prior to that, it wasn't an issue because we were with Shrek. I mean, the original ballot measure was about software, not necessarily specifically CAD, but updating to Next Gen 911 by 2018. So that has been in the original, or in the conversation since the original ballot measure.
All right, Councilmember Klitzky.
I'm not sure I
then
answered you, Councilmember
Councilmember
Bingle.
Lambton. Did you have a follow-up on that, Councilmember Bingle, or?
Yeah, I guess just, I think you'd mentioned it a little bit earlier, but like, what is the imposition on the rest of Shrek as the separation was happening? Because like you said, I mean, if they're at 8 screens, right, like I understand where, maybe they're coming from of like, we can't do 2 different systems, but like, so what's the imposition on them? And yeah.
So let me see if this kind of goes the direction. So I think one of the misunderstandings between the city and Shrek, since we really, even before mediation, when they made it clear that status quo was no longer going to be a possibility, but we were not in the we're leaving, but they said you're either going to be all in or all out. We were then running 2 parallel tracks of trying to work and become and remain a regional partner in emergency communications. And like, if we're out, we have to start figuring out what that means for us financially, what that means for us operationally. So I think that Shrek assumes that we are far ahead because we've started that parallel track of just asking the questions, not implementing anything. So we were still in the no, we're on. Shrek was very clear at a variety of deadlines that they wanted us to know in or out, that again, whether it was due to apportionment, whether it was due to upcoming mediations, we didn't have those answers because all of this has really been a compressed time frame. Now, again, I think from the perspective of Shrek and probably many county people, this has not been a compressed timeline. This has been an ongoing back and forth conversation since the implementation and before Shrek was implemented. And so I think that that's a lot of county and Shrek frustrations. And again, it's not my place really to speak for them, but that has been outright said in meetings, is that, we've said, hey, this was, Mayor Brown just took office in '24. We're trying to ask these questions and come to terms. And they're like, this has been ongoing. So I'm not sure if I still hit the mark. They have given deadlines. It's deadlines necessarily that we have not felt that we had the appropriate information to be able to answer.
Councilmember Klitzky, then Councilmember Lambton.
I think I should just clarify my previous point since Councilmember Cathcart didn't seem to understand what I was saying. This has been kind of framed as a rural county versus the city issue. And at the end of the day, these systems can't work without each other. We have to rely on mutual aid, and it would behoove the county system to have what's going on in the city systems, whether they're separate or together. There's plenty of other regions that have multiple infrastructures, but they all are compatible and they all work together. So there's just not a conceivable, reasonable building block in the future to leave a big gap in the middle, because it's always going to need to be filled.
I would agree with
in
you.
the data. So I feel like if folks feel like they're separate from this problem because they're not in the city limits, they are not separate from this problem because they are not in the city limits. And we do have to work together and come to a regional agreement, regardless of whether the city's in or out. So some of this, I think, intentional undermining of each other does not help either system.
Yeah.
And there is no moral high ground on this.
Yeah, and Councilmember Klitzky, if I can just take that point, and I want to go back up to these illustrations. So let's take a call that in kind of to the right side middle area, you see VE6 and VB6. So that's Valley Engine 6 and Valley Brush Unit 6. So if there is a call that they are first due in, and it's a structure fire, so we need 4 engines, 2 trucks, a battalion chief, a safety officer, and an ambulance. Today, CAD is going to look there, and they're going to see Spokane Engine 8, Spokane Truck 14, potentially even Engine 7, Valley Engine 1, and they're going to get all of the units that they need. Going forward, and again, this isn't a city call, this is a valley call, they're either going to pull everything from the valley, or then head up into District 9. Now, a couple of those District 9 units are not staffed houses. Those are volunteer houses. So it's going to go past of those and go clear up to that Engine 99 in the top part of that. So now that's not precluding the dispatchers from calling the city and saying, do you have anything available? Is Engine 8 available? But they don't know that Engine 8's available, and we'll have to look. And so that does add time to that chain of events. So to your point, you are spot on, that this is not just a city, in my opinion, this is not just a city concern from public safety.
Councilmember Lambden, and Councilmember Wilkerson, then back to Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, thanks, Councilmember Dillon. Thanks for all of the information, Chief Oberg. This has been really helpful and informative. And I think that really what it sounds like most of council is getting at is that the outcome is going to be the same regardless. It's the potential for chaos and the potential threats to public safety in that interim period through the transition that I think I can speak for all of us that we're concerned about. And the way I'm equating this system in my brain coming from healthcare is you have multiple different hospital and healthcare systems that often operate on different health record systems, but they're able to access the database so that they can continue care for patients across the board. And part of what that does is it helps with continuity of care and it helps ensure patient safety. So really this process and system and the goal for the city here is no different. And you kind of started to get at it, my question in your previous comments, but I'm curious if there's data related to the number of those mutual aid calls for city engines going outside of city lines to those county responses, and if that's been a topic of conversation with the board.
It has not been a topic of conversation with the board that I am aware of, but it is data that we track, and I know it's data that our neighboring jurisdictions track as well.
Yeah, because I would think from the perspective of those individuals, that might be potentially compelling. I don't know, not sure where some of that friction and the rub is, but to understand that the reality is they're going to have staffing and operational burdens because they're not able to access our system and calls for those mutual aid.
And I was going to say, I want to be real clear, there's automatic aid and mutual aid. So automatic aid is what we function under now, where all of our units are entered in. We have those contracts, so the computer just looks for the closest available resource that's needed. What we'll go to in mutual aid will be that it will literally have to be a dispatcher calling and saying, do you have an engine or a truck or a battalion chief available for this call at this location? So it's adding to that chain of events, the timeline to the chain of events.
All right, thank you, Council President Wilkerson, then Councilmember
Just
Cathcart.
quickly, I know we're running out of time. I just want to speak to the financial costs. So Shrek has asked Spokane to leave their biggest customer base financially, and then to stand up and maintain that for a smaller population. I would know that's going to be a financial impact to Shrek, and absolutely it'll be an impact to the city of Spokane maintaining this. So I just want our citizens to be really aware that this really is an issue, safety-wise, but it's also a financial issue as to how we go forward to provide the best service that's available. So if the city leaves the county, do they need that much infrastructure now to provide for 50% less people that they were serving prior to the city of Spokane setting up its own PSAP? So that's a concern for me, financial, as we look at the apportionment of funds going forward and how we will really reconcile that. And I think the biggest reconciliation piece is the apportionment of these 911 sales tax that really is the linchpin to many of these conversations.
All right, Councilmember Cathcart.
Yeah, and Councilmember Lambden kind of touched on what I was asking for, but I would like to see those stats as well. And if we could break them down by, we get the call because we're the closest, or we get a call because they need backup. And I would love to see a difference of those two. And so, because obviously, you could have a station that's a little bit further away. It's not going to really impact things that greatly. But when you need significant backup and folks are, resources are taxed. I think that's another piece that we have to consider. Also, from Shrek's perspective, if they're so happy to pick up the phone and just call another dispatcher, what is that going to add to the time of response? And I think that, you know, for me, this has been my number one issue with Shrek for the last 4 years, has been the lack of meeting those national standards. And I don't see how this helps that in any way. So it's very concerning.
We'll certainly bring in the October 6th public safety. We'll bring in the mutual aid given and received stats. I just want to be clear. I'm not sure that we measure where you said whether they were the closest unit or truly needed backup. For us, that's one and the same. I mean, if we are dispatched on the initial alarm for a structure fire, whether we're leaving the city or not, that's because the computer saw that resource as being the closest one. Same way, if that goes now to a second alarm, it's just going to go out another ripple and say, okay, I need this many more engines, this many more trucks, and find it. So I'm not sure there's a delineation from what you were saying.
If say there's a fire or something that occurs, you know, off Bigelow and District 9 is responding, but they need more resources, and they call for more resources, they send us because that's what's available. We don't differentiate that call versus the automated where we're the closest.
That's still going to be under auto aid, and that's still going to be dispatched on AVL. So it would
Okay.
just be that now it's gone to a second alarm, so they need these resources. Where are the available resources? So it'd still be the same thing.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, any of those stats we can get, I think, is important. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for this sobering update. I know we're going to have some, obviously, more on this and some concrete steps because of the urgency around this. It's really hard to look at that image and see the donut hole that has been placed around the city of Spokane and has been mentioned by other council members, city residents, our county constituents too. And there's a ripple effect that goes on much beyond our jurisdiction. And we need to work together to put public safety first. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Council.
Okay. Next up, we are going to have Chris Avert appointing our Director of Solid Waste. Thanks for being here, Chris. Thanks for your patience.
Good afternoon, council members. This resolution seeks to appoint Trace Bradburn to the position of Director of Solid Waste. Trace's leadership experience in the public and private solid waste sectors in the state of Washington make him an ideal candidate for this position to help us as we move forward with the upcoming solid waste challenges. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
All right. Any questions for Chris?
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Chris. Okay. We're going to have Rich Lenz, Golf Series 2018 Silver Loan Payoff. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, good afternoon, council. This will be brief. You already talked quite a bit on SIP loans. So in short, we have, under the Gulf Enterprise Fund, we have 3 outstanding debts. Matt discussed the one that matures this year with the Esmeralda loan. The other one that matures the end of this year is Indian Canyon loan. So this SBO is asking for authority to pay that off. Since acquiring these debts, we've been charging a improvement fee to every round of golf played. It's been servicing that debt and acquiring a fund balance to pay those debts in full. So we do have adequate funds to pay off the Indian Canyon loan at the end of this year. So that's the request for the SBO. And then to your prior comment, President Wilkerson, I put a plan of action together for the park board, essentially to have a goal to pay all 3 loans by the end of 2030. So we'll be paying those off 6 years early. So there will be one that matures at the end of next year. I kind of liken it to when we were talking about household finances, taking a 30-year mortgage and paying it in 15 years. We are taking it on a 5-year term with a balloon payment, but the budget set up and the payment set up would pay all 3 in full by the end of 2030, with the recommendation to the park board to pay existing debt before looking to acquire new debt. There's massive capital needs in golf, but the recommendation is make that debt a priority before looking at additional debt. Any questions?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, jumping ahead, we have Christine Schisler here with a SERS SMC code amendment. Thanks for being here.
Good afternoon. So I have a couple code changes. The first is in SMC 0305-210, removal of options A and B. We have run these by our actuaries. Option C covers the intent of A and B, and so to streamline our processes, A and B were always a manual process in the department, and so to streamline and yet not impact what's offered to our employees when they retire, our actuaries, with concurrence of in-house and outside counsel, agreed to remove those, and so that was a decision of the board. We also, on option C, just clarified a little bit more. Our employees would get confused about the guaranteed period, and just clarifying that it starts at date of retirement. And then the other SMC has to do with rehiring of retirees as temporary seasonal employees. There's been an MOU for a couple years between the unions and HR and the retirement system to reduce it from the 960 to 480 hours annually. But we also did discover, we used to let just a one pay period happen between retirement and rehire of temp seasonal. And we did learn that the IRS requires a true separation of service, although they don't define what a true definition, they don't define that. In looking at other systems, at a conference I go to, most use a 6-month. And so with inside, outside counsel and the board, it was decided to use a 6-month waiting period.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions for Christine? All right, seeing none. Thank you so much. Appreciate the update. All right, we're going to have Jackson Deese, resolution designating safe streets for all funding priorities. Thanks for being here, Jackson.
Good afternoon, Council. I was just answering some questions for John Snyder about this, so good timing. Yeah, this is kind of a follow-up from the resolution that you saw maybe about a month ago that I briefed on Council giving some financial direction to the Transportation Commission on how much money there is for particularly Adaptive 2026 and Construction 2027 permanent projects. Any questions?
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, not a question really, but just hoping that before this comes to our legislative agenda, we can get a financial projection as well as a project list and specifically what those projects are going to look like, adaptive, not adaptive, just et cetera.
Yeah, I think to the project list, that's the Transportation Commission. I think October, they have public comment open until October 7th, I believe, and then their next meeting's the 15th, and they give staff sort of the first set of direction on what projects to completely consider, which ones are going to be adaptive, which ones are going to be permanent, and then they'll go through another round again in November to give final recommendations to you all.
Councilor Zepon?
Yeah, and this is the first year with the Transportation Commission, so I think it's been trying to figure out a process and iteration, and John Snyder said that the Transportation Commission needs to have some sort of dollar amount framework to do it. They could recommend 1 million projects or 2 projects, but they're looking to the council for direction on kind of what to fit within that parameter. So I think in the future of this cycle, council would give this direction earlier so that they know, or base it. I think ideally it would be based on revenues and having an idea of prior year revenues or something so that they know what to expect on an ongoing basis and not kind of this, how much is it here or there. On the financials, going through a pro forma from the administration, I came up with this, or felt comfortable with this dollar amount by basing it off of our current existing revenues, actually assuming that we brought in less revenues in 2025 than budgeted, because we're below budgeted right now. And I took the year-to-date and projected it out for the full year, so about $600,000 less than budgeted. And assuming that there were no changes, no increase in cameras, because I think we've been here for a long time and have been concerned and heard for a long time cameras are going to go. I hope they will, and I'm pushing the administration to keep doing that. But felt comfortable with that dollar amount because the fund balance would draw down but not be insolvent at the current existing revenue. So I think it was Kate can help with that number, 3.5 million-ish. If we assumed of 3.5 million revenue annually for the next 3 years to 2027, there would still be about $250,000 in the fund balance at the conclusion of that time. So I view that as kind of a worst case scenario. When talking to Councilmember Lambden about this, looking at like what's the best case, worst case scenario. Best case, there's going to be more money, there will be more projects. Worst case scenario, I think, is the status quo right now, is the worst case scenario.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and well, that's great. I'd love to actually get those numbers to take a look. But it's good that we won't be insolvent. I just worry, and I may or may not be here, but I just worry that we're not going to be able to allocate traffic calming projects because there won't be any money in there because we spent it on the 27 by 27. And so that's also kind of where I'm thinking. We've got a lot of demand still from neighborhoods on projects and things, and what are we going to be able, how many projects can we tell them that we're going to be able to commit to in 27 for the next round based on what's left in this pot? And that's part of what I'm trying to get.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, it's in the resolution, it specifies how much would go towards 2027 projects. Of the 5.2 million for permanent neighborhood safe projects, 3.8 million would be used for 27 by 27. So that still leaves 1.4 million for permanent projects in addition to adaptive projects on top of that for the 2027 construction year.
So of those dollars, and I don't know what the future plans are on street art, $1 million or however much comes out of there for that. We've got your ongoing employees for the plowing of the bike lanes and whatnot. And so after all of that, what's left?
That dollar amount is what's left. After you take out the program costs, the other programs such as asphalt art, employees, if it's all the status quo, which the contract for asphalt art is until 2027. I thought it ended in 25, but we extended it earlier in the year. So assuming all of that continues as status quo, maintaining the 4 FTE maintenance dollars that we've talked about, assuming all of that status quo, the 5.2 million for permanent projects is what's left for all total construction projects for 2027. And 3.8 of that would be for 27 by 27 projects. So there's still funding for adaptive projects. There's still funding. And we've talked about kind of providing guidance of how much would go towards adaptive projects. So this would provide that guidance for how much would go for adaptive projects, how much would go for permanent projects, how much of that would be for 27 by 27, and still maintain a worst case scenario of fund balance.
Well, I guess the numbers though, that means we believe we'll have what, 9 million sitting there to spend 5.2 on permanent and another 3.8 on adaptive, I guess, or maybe I'm getting that backwards. But
it's within the 5.2. 3.8 would be for.
Of the 5.2. Okay.
Of the 5.2, 3.8 would be for
sense.
permanent, and then that would be 1.4 left for other permanent projects.
Okay.
And if it makes you more comfortable, we can change that language to make that clear.
Yeah.
Councilor Klisky?
I think it would also be helpful to have maybe an unfunded contingency list in case we do have extra money. It's nice to feel fiscally conservative, but when it comes to infrastructure projects and infrastructure funds, construction almost never gets cheaper. So the sooner you build it, the cheaper it is. And when it's things like sidewalks, they last a really long time. So the sooner you get them built, the more money you're saving.
Any other questions, discussion? All right. Well, thanks so much, Jackson. Appreciate
Thank
it. All right. We'll do board, commission, and staff updates. Council Office Operations Work Group.
I don't think we've met since the last Finance Committee. I'll just note, and I'll mention this in my update, that I will be working with Mr. Wright to bring forward a very draft list of things that will need adjustment in our council rules for next year, at our next meeting.
All right. Thank you. Equity Subcommittee.
Well, just voted in the new members of the Equity Subcommittee, and I will jump down to language access. Have reached out just with a thank you to Eastern Washington for coming and doing their presentation. And I know the administration is working on some type of partnership with them at this time. I don't know if Councilmember Cathcart's heard anything else about that, but that's kind of where we had left off on that.
Great. Thank you. Fiscal impact and investment. I think we'll be revising that when we do our boards and commissions next year. Legislative Committee, we did discuss the federal agenda. Obviously, waste to energy plan is top of mind for state legislation 2026. So I know we'll have an update from Mr. Paulson later.
Yeah, I would say from fellow council members, the committee will be proposing to the council an agenda, a state legislative agenda. So if there are requests to add it to the top priorities, now's a great time to share, or reach out to committee members at any point and share what those are.
Thank you. Go ahead.
Very fast. Yeah, I think obviously we need to include the exemption on there for the waste to energy again, but I also think that it would warrant perhaps some statement or resolution or something now on its own just to raise that again and start, communicating with legislators that this is a big priority.
Definitely. Thank you. All right, Councilmember Bingle.
Yeah, Sirs Board, you just heard from Christine, that, and then just, the continued discussion of, money from the VRIP, so.
Thank you. Council President, Aging Long-Term Care.
We only meet every other month, so there was no meeting last month. Thank you.
All right. AWC Board, Councilmember Zepone.
Yeah, I was at the AWC board retreat last week for Thursday and Friday, and we had some great bonding with folks from across the state. But one thing that we really focused on is kind of what are our roles as board members. And in particular, Spokane has a unique role on the AWC board, and is that we automatically get a seat on the board. And so we spent a lot of time of talking about what are our duties as board members and representing our districts. This is my district, so I see you a lot. Whereas other districts, like District 1 is a large part of Eastern Washington, they have to do a lot of outreach to more cities than just one. And so just talking about that, we're going to have an update at future AWC board meetings. We meet 4 times a year, so the next one's in December, where I'll be providing a district update to the AWC board about issues in Spokane. So maybe next month you guys can all, I see you regularly, but you can let me know what things you think are important for AWC to know. At the AWC board meeting, we also adopted the AWC legislative priorities. A lot of those align with the issues that we already talk about here at the city around flexibility on housing and affordable housing, maintaining state revenue share for the city level. There's 4 that I don't have in front of me, but it's generally the issues that we talk about regularly. No big changes from AWC last year or for the year on that legislative agenda. It's kind of the same one as last year.
Great. Thank you. Fire pension and police pension, we did meet. It was more a discussion about payouts.
It was, yes, exceptions to our policy on payout and claims.
Yep. And then Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Council President.
We will not meet until October, so this particular group really does the funding for applications for grants that promote cultural tourism in our city. So that will be coming forward. We usually get those in, and those are awarded no later than the end of November, as those organizations can then plan. A lot go to the PFD, a lot to Visit Spokane, a lot to Spokane Sports are some of our ones that usually receive funding.
Great. Thank you. Councilmember Zepone, Tacky.
Yeah, grants are out, so our applications are out for grants for the first half of 2026. So I encourage folks to apply to that and spread it to your networks for that. There were no major changes to the application. It was focusing on those newer type events and trying to be that catalyst to funding for those new type of events. The committee did talk about after this cycle, because we kind of already talked about projects and people were expecting the application, but we're talking about, is this kind of the most effective use of these dollars, or is there potential more effective ways to do that? If council members have thoughts too, I'm happy to relay that back to the committee. But one thing that was coming up beginning is is there some infrastructure improvements that these funds can be used on city-owned properties? And are there infrastructure improvements that the city can make that all events and all types of users could benefit from, such as sound system downtown or barricade type events? And there was talk about poles in the streets that go up and down for easier use. Or there's talk about should we prioritize the funding available and have community members get creative about kind of tourist attractions in our community. Are there things that we could be improving on our Riverwalk, the Centennial Trail, that makes it more of a destination? Right now, a lot of these dollars have been going to $5,000 grants to smaller organizations, and is that having the intended tourism impact? And so that's kind of, the committee is going to revisit that topic again later this year and kind of make a suggestion to you all, but happy to share what council members are thinking too.
Thank you. And I did see that Spokane is hosting the State Tourism Conference here in beginning of October, so that's really exciting. Thanks for the update. Councilor Bingle, Launch Northwest.
Launch Northwest is becoming its own nonprofit and is going to be its own entity here soon, and so that was the discussion.
Great.
Question follow-up. So what does that mean? What does it look like? It's going to be totally separated from Innovia, or is it going to be a fiscal sponsor, or how would that work?
I don't know the answer to that question. I'll email Ben and get back to you. But yeah, they're their own. They're going to be taking on their own portion. I mean, Innovia and the Spokane County Leadership Council will still be a part, but.
And the second follow-up to that is, what would that mean for the fiscal impact that we've already committed funds from ARPA and other entities to Innovia for that? Does that just automatically get passed through, or kind of just questions on what that operations would look like?
Yeah, let me follow up on that.
Thanks.
All right. Thank you. Councilmember Klitzky, Spokane County Veterans Advisory Board.
Veterans Advisory Board only meets quarterly, but a lot of folks from the advisory board did attend the Wall That Heals dedication that happened recently. They brought the Vietnam Memorial Wall to Spokane, and we had some veterans speak, and a whole group of folks, I think, came together to make that a really good event. So I want to thank those folks. I thought it was especially interesting that Fairchild did a flyover with both airplanes and helicopters. As a medic, I relate much more to the helicopters. That's the medevac that I trained on than airplanes. So I thought that was really cool and inclusive.
Great. Thank you. Councilmember Zabone, TPA Commission, Hotel Motel Commission. Nope. TPA Hotel.
Did not meet.
No, did not meet. Okay. U District PDA.
And I'll close out with the U District. So we just voted in our new board members. Also, we had a presentation on land acquisition. We are looking at expanding. There's an empty lot over there that looking at a climbing wall, childcare, mixed use in that area. So more to come on that.
Thank you. Councilmember Zabone, Visit Spokane.
Did not meet. Well, I think it's next month.
Okay. Council President Wilkerson, West Plains PDA. Oh, go ahead.
I can share that. Yeah. So, adjacently related to Visit Spokane, hosted a town hall with the fire marshal at their office with businesses and event organizers to kind of hear the struggles that folks have with it, and that was recorded. It's great information that was shared, and a lot of questions that were answered, and some follow-up, I think, that to do around some intricacies of the fire code that are interesting.
Appreciate you doing that. All right, Council President.
West Plains did not meet this month as our executive director was traveling, but a retreat is planned for October to welcome our new CEO of the airport and board recruitment, and really taking another look at our interlocal agreements and how that goes forward.
All right, thank you so much. Councilmember Cathcart, Northeast PDA.
Yeah, the PDA has been updating some of our procurement requirements as well as some HR policies and standards. We've also taken on sort of a role as acting as a fiscal agent for the facade, what is they called? The facade grants that are going to be doled out kind of throughout the area there in downtown Hilliard for improvements. Obviously, folks saw the great news about the creative district and the celebration that we had the other day. Jesse, our directors, had a little bit of a hand in some of those things. And then also just to the 3011 Wellesley project, the child care project, that is a bit in limbo at this point. Some of the issues really stemmed from the city changing our financing model of how we do the payback to the PDAs. That's really impacted that project. And so it just adds a whole other level of importance if this is going to happen to both a state ask and a federal ask, and what that's going to look like. But we're scrounging for every grant we can possibly find to help make that pencil. But right now, it's just a little bit hanging out there.
Council President.
I just want to piggyback on Councilman Cathcart about the PDAs. The West Plains PDA and the U District PDA is also struggling with the new funding source of the model the city is using. And so especially for the U District, that is impacting our consideration about this expansion and property purchase also with the West Plains. So I think they're working on that. I don't know if there's been any resolution, but we look forward to that. And I know the PDAs do as well, as it's really impacting how they budget going forward for the year 2026.
All right, thank you. Now we'll hear from council staff. Jacoby Byrd.
Thank you, Chair Dillon, Council President, council members. So my first update has to do with the tech and council chambers. I spent the last week poking around with City Cable 5 on how best to implement a screen share system for y'all. I was hoping to be further along and have you all bring your laptops down and try it out. As you can tell by the glitches we experienced this morning, it's just not quite there yet. The gist of it, if you look up at the big screen though, is that the VIA, which is the sort of computer that we use here in Chambers, should be able to take you, if you're browsing on the city's Wi-Fi, to a page that allows you to just jump on a screen share altogether. I also was looking at some quotes for tablets to be, always on your dais here. I think I would like to try first seeing if we can get this to work on your laptops. And just expect that you bring your laptop down here. It would be a much more cost-efficient option if we can get it to work correctly. Right now, the issue we're running into is when you browse to that IP address here, our VIA is not recognizing that it needs to have a static IP address. It's switching every once in a while. So we're experiencing a lot of glitches in terms of when it's functional and when it's not functional. I'm hoping to resolve all of that by the next time we meet together. So. At Finance, and so I can walk you through how to join the meeting on your laptop, how to ideally download the app and not even join through that browser, and hopefully the app will be able to recognize that you're on the correct Wi-Fi and just prompt you to join automatically. The app also hypothetically allows you to go fuller screen so that you have full engagement on your laptop screen, and you can zoom in on things that are being presented up there, and then also very advanced level Collaborate, where you can throw your mouse up on the screen and highlight something or strike out something up there. One step at a time, but that's the ideal goal. I'm sorry I wasn't able to bring that to you in full form today, but that's what I've been working with Cable 5 on as we kind of share this tech down here. Next update for y'all is just that we've got our District 3 Town Hall next week. I'm looking forward to it. It's at West Central Community Center. I'll be working with Neighborhood Services this week to make sure that we get that testimony form out to all of our neighbors. Just a quick rundown so I don't have to do it at agenda review today. We're going to start the meeting by Pledge of Allegiance, land acknowledgement, proclamation, salutations. We'll go into a brief update from Garrett Jones and Dr. Swinyard about an educational piece on the measure that they're putting out there to the voters this November. And then we'll go straight into public comment. We'll start with oral public comment. Allow folks to ask you a question. We'll limit to about 2 minutes. We'll ask for council responses to be limited to about that same amount of time. And while that's happening, LAs and myself will be distributing cards for folks to write a question if they would like to prefer to submit a written question or comment. And I'll collate those and give those to Lisa Gardner so she can ask you them during that meeting. And then lastly, I'm just continuing to work on various short-term and long-term projects for office management, working on phase 2 of our testimony sign-up form. That has been really successful in our phase 1 rollout. I've been really happy with the product so far and thankful to the web team for all of their work on it. Phase 2, as I've mentioned to you all in the past, is hopefully getting us more mirroring the state, tracking items through time, allowing folks to just show that they want to sign in for or against or other. And so I'm looking forward to continue to working on that. And then, as I mentioned briefly, I'm working with Chris on council rule updates and other sort of things that involve the council operations, including staffing our bi-weekly budget meetings, which I think have been going really well. So, thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Next up, we will have Kate Fairborn.
That was a perfect segue into the budget, right? Well, Council President, Council Chair, you probably all know I've been working very busily on preparing for the biennial budget. Today, I emailed each of you a worksheet. So it's an interactive worksheet trying to design tools with the $13.5 million projected deficit for 2026. I'm trying to think of creative ways to engage you so that you can kind of play with different numbers. And what the administration has asked us for specifically are percentage cuts in various buckets. And so what I've put together for you, if you'll open up your email today, is a spreadsheet where you can plug in percentage. So you can say -5, +5, or just 5, and it will automatically tabulate, and it'll keep a running tally as you go through each of the buckets. And so you can just kind of see how much it will take to actually get to $13.5 million in savings. So I would invite you all to play with that. May not be the most fun kind of play, but play around with it and see. And I'm certainly love to hear your feedback as you engage with that tool. That's probably one of the big pieces that we're coming up on the end of the quarter. So you will be getting an extended version of my monthly report to you, more in-depth analysis of the economy, where we think we're headed. I've been working on my 6-year forecast, updating it with some of the new information, especially around the Federal Reserve's it's increasing openness to interest rate cuts, shall we say, and a lot of the horse trading going on around that. So, and what that impact that may or may not have on our 6-year forecast. I've also been doing a lot of deep dive research for individual council members, and am open to any other information requests that any of you might have to help you as you're trying to kind of grapple with, again, the $13.5 million that we need to find. So a lot of those projects are ongoing, and if you have any other questions, just let me know. I'm really happy to be here as a resource for you.
Go ahead.
We love our budget director, but she's been renamed the Grim Reaper on the 7th floor because every time Kate comes, there's a cut attached to her. But thank you, Kate, for your input and giving us the opportunity to participate. I think it's been really helpful for us in real time to see where the expenses are, and that you have shown us there's not an opportunity for new revenues coming forward.
Right.
So I think we just need to keep that in mind as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, Kate, we really appreciate your work. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
All right. That's it. All right. Well, thank you all. We will see you on October 27th. Happy fall. Go Mariners.